So that's right, before we even get started with the video, I am going to confirm it. I am wearing my Christmas t-shirt. Yep, if you didn't think I was cool, look at that, I've just proven you wrong. And when I go away. So hello, and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. We're all getting in a Christmas spirit. We're getting close to Christmas. So I've got my little Bubba Christmas tree here. Hence why it's very dark here in the UK. Crap weather during the winter. So it's dark outside. It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon here on a beautiful Saturday. So yeah, the weather is just shocking. Also, of course, the weather has given me a cold, which is why I sound stuffy. And my eyes might look a bit puffy. But nevertheless, this isn't even a Christmas video, so I don't even know why I'm telling you guys this. This is just for people who are watching in the future, probably going, why is he wearing a Christmas shirt? But nevertheless, today, it's another top 10 underrated albums. I normally do one of these a year or so. This is the third one. Last time I did it, I accidentally showed a record that was in the first one. I think I showed Genesis calling all stations in both videos, so you won't see that in this one. But nevertheless, these albums are in no particular order. I haven't even put them in an order. They're actually just kind of scattered all over in front of me right now. So I'm just going to pick up one at a time randomly and show you it and tell you why I think it's underrated. And why either if you think you don't like it, you should give it another go. Or if you haven't heard it purely because you've heard bad things said about it, why I say actually to give it a go. Because these albums here I find all very enjoyable, and they have not received the nicest of comments by critics or in the vinyl community, all that mumbo jumbo. These are albums which I actually think are very good, not great. I'm not going to pretend that some of these are masterpieces, because they're definitely not, but they're albums which are worth another listen. And the inspiration for this started with the first album I'm going to show, which was my last video, which people seem to really enjoy. So thank you to everyone who watched the last video, my last video, which was about the Paul McCartney archives on Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway. I'm pleased people enjoyed that. So I'm going to hold up Red Rose Speedway. This is an album which I think is vastly underrated. This is a great album, and at the minute, I think is actually my second favourite Wings album. And I know people are going to shoot me for saying that. I adore this record. It's great. I liked it before the archive. I'd state that I've reviewed it. I gave it a 6.8 out of 10. And I think I'd probably creep this album up to a mid-7 now. Maybe, 7.5. It's not a great album, but wow, there's some good stuff on this record. I mean, it opens with Big Barn Ben, which is a song, it's kind of like Temporary Secretary, where it's just grown on people over time and people have really started to enjoy it. And then you got My Love, which is just a beautiful, beautiful song, classic. And then, of course, Get on the Right Thing, which is a really interesting song. I think there's some depth to it there, which people haven't really looked into. One More Kiss is one of the fluffy ones. Little Lamb Dragonfly is my personal favourite track on the album. I think it's great. I think it's one of Paul's all-time best songs. Him and Denny Lane, their harmonies together on this, unlike anything I've heard Paul do, really, I think, since he left the Beatles. His harmonies with Denny Lane work so well on this song. Single Pigeon's a bit of a fluff. When the Night, really good. Loop, First Indian on the Moon, I've really come to appreciate. There's some fantastic bass work in there. And the medley is a lot of fun. Don't compare it to Abbey Road, people. Just don't go. What's the point? There's no point. But nevertheless, it's fantastic. The album's great. You get a little book on the inside with lots of nice pictures in. There's also some boobies in it, so that's a plus. I'm only joking. But nevertheless, this is a really, really good album. One which I've always liked, but the archive has made me appreciate it even more, because the upgrade on sound is fantastic. Also, I bought the double vinyl album of it, how Paul originally intended it to be. And I strongly believe, the only criticism I really have of it is it's got a weak opening song, Night Out. Take that off it, I really do strongly believe that would be one of, in most people's top 10, top 5 even, Paul albums, if he did release it as the double album. But, nevertheless, Red Rose Speedway, really, really good album. Give it another go, especially with the reissue just come out. There's some, it's got some good stuff on. Okay, so where do I want to head to next? I didn't put these in any order. Okay, I guess we'll move on to another absolute classic rock artist alongside Paul McCartney. Literally, Paul McCartney and this guy are my top two artists ever. I adore Paul McCartney's solo work. And I also absolutely adore David Bowie. So yeah, this is Lodger, which is an album which, again, just doesn't get talked about. Whenever people do talk about Bowie, of course, everyone goes to his 70s stuff, because we all know that's Bowie's best period. Don't even try to tell me it's another decade, because it's not. Nevertheless, saying that, Bowie had some great stuff in the 80s, 90s, and since then. But this is the one album from the 70s which people just never really talk about. Whenever they do, it never gets a bashing, but it always just gets a, oh yeah, Lodger. Right out. Don't need it. Don't matter. No, it does. There's some fantastic stuff on this album. It's a really, really interesting record. I never know what's the front cover and back cover. Is this the front cover? Is that the back cover? I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna have to pull the record out because I don't know the songs on this one off by heart. But I played this the other day and thought it was actually so much fun. Fantastic Voyage is a really good opening song, actually. And then I really love African Night Flight. I found that to be a very good song. Red Sails was good. The title track Lodger, very good. And then of course, there's what the big hit on the album, Boys Keep Swinging. That was a very good song, very good song. I think that's the one song on this album which kind of keeps it going, which is why some people remember it. But nevertheless, I think this is a vastly underrated album as well. Very good album. It's just enjoyable. There's just not much to dislike with it, I don't think. Plus, it's Bowie. Does Bowie really have any bad albums? I don't think so. I find pretty much all of Bowie's albums enjoyable, even the weaker ones. But I think this is a good album. It's doesn't deserve some of the stuff that it gets. But anyway, don't Bowie Lodger. Oh God, I don't know which way. Anyway, next one up. Let's go to something a bit different. Let's go with Oasis. So this one here is Don't Believe in the Truth, which is not necessarily a album which needs talking about, because it gets talked about a lot. It's Oasis. Nevertheless, people are going to really, really enjoy this album. So when it comes to Oasis, people are always talking about their main three albums, which is fine. They're great albums, their first three. And I know that Oasis kind of trickled away after that. But this album is a return to form, in my opinion. This is every bit as good as Be Here Now. I listened to this just as much as the first two. It's great. I mean, it has Turn Up the Sun, which is a fantastic song. Lila, which is, as we all know, a fantastic Liam song. One of my favourite Noel Gallagher songs ever, and I love Noel Gallagher's solo career, The Importance of Being Idle. And this album just has so much good music on it. It really is worthy of a listen. It's a fantastic album. Why do people not talk about this one as much? I don't get it, but anyway. Let's go with... Let's do this one next. Electric Light Orchestra. This is Balance of Power. Yeah, this is probably one of the weakest Yellow albums. People really dismiss it because even Jeff didn't really want to make this record. But at the same time, I still find this album quite enjoyable. There's some fun stuff on it. The keyboard work, the harmonies. There's still some really good stuff on it. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a great album, because it's not. But it's a lot more fun than I think people are willing to admit. Heaven Only Knows is kind of funny. It always reminds me of the Bee Gees. Getting to the Point is actually a really good song. Is It Alright? I like. Without Somebody. Calling America's good. And my personal favourite track on here is Send It. That's actually a really good song. So yeah, this is one of those albums that's there. It's completely forgotten. But pick it up. It's worth a listen. It's not bad. Okay, I'm going to do these two next. So this is actually an album from this year which no one gave a chance. So this is my little plug, because we're at a very important time of the year. Bah humbug. I'm not actually a bah humbug. But yeah, it's a Christmas album. That's Eric Clapton, Happy Xmas. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is amazing with my Eric Clapton biasness because I love the man. It's not. This album is what it is. However, people disliked it for the cover, because the cover, I'm not going to lie, it's a terrible album cover. Also, a lot of the Bible basher religious people slated the title, Xmas. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against religion and whatnot, but it's just the title. Look past it, guys. Anyway, I'm not... It is what it is. Clapton's just doing these Christmas songs. They're really nice. He doesn't do them in a cheesy way. He does them in his bluesy way. And they're quite enjoyable to listen to. The Jingle Bells song on here sucks. The Avicii dedicated song, which a lot of people are talking about. Yes, that one is garbage. But nevertheless, the rest of the music on there is very enjoyable. I really recommend giving it a go. Okay, going to move over to Blondie now, kind of. I'm going to talk about Deborah Harry, of course, the lead singer. She's had a couple solo albums. And this is one which also has just been completely forgotten. And I'm not going to stick up for her solo career too much. It is what it is. It's there. It's not great. But one of her solo albums I've really connected with. It's kind of hard to get on vinyl, so maybe just stick to the CD. But check it out if you're a Blondie fan, because this is actually really enjoyable. This is Deprivation. An album which I found myself really enjoying. There's not really any standout tracks on here. There weren't any hits, nothing like that. It just is what it is. And I just found this to be a really good listen, especially as a Blondie fan. Every song on here was good and interesting in its own way. It is what it is. Check it out. Okay, 3 more to go. So the next one up that I want to talk about is one that has just been reissued on vinyl. And that is Fleetwood Mac, Say You Will. Now, the reissue of this on vinyl is not great. I griped about it. A lot of people were griping about it. The sound quality isn't great. The quality of the vinyl isn't great. The packaging sucks. It is what it is. But nevertheless, Fleetwood Mac are not in a good place in a minute. So it's kind of hard to sound too excited and talk about them. Especially since this is one of their more recent ones from 2003. I say recent, but it's 15 years old now. So, go figure. But anyway. It's about the music, and the music on here is really good. I feel like this is the follow-up album to Mirage. This is the, not Mirage, Tango in the Night. This is the first time the band are all together on a studio album. Although Christine McVie's not here, which is a shame. I mean, they always have members missing. This is the first time Lindsay and Stevie are back together, is what I should say. So fans of them two, this is going to be a really good album for you. Unfortunately, we are missing Christine McVie, as I say. But nevertheless, this is a really fun album. I really enjoy it. There's a lot of good stuff on here. It's a return to form for the band. They're sounding fresh, sounding alive. There's some energy there. Lindsay sounded great again. This is the best Stevie has sounded in a long time. So yeah, this is a good album. I recommend checking it out. If you're a fan of those classic Fleetwood Mac periods, that's the next best thing you're going to get, I think. So yeah, check that out. Okay, next one up. Which way up does this one go? This one goes this way. Jeez, these albums. In Through the Outdoor by Led Zeppelin. Yeah, why do people shit on this album? Why? Can someone explain to me? Because I really, really don't get it. It's a good album. This is generally a really good album. Of course it's not as good as the early 4 or 5 albums. Of course not. But I prefer this over Presence and Coda. This is not their weakest. I do not feel. There's some good stuff on here. In the Evening's a great opening track. It has All My Love on, which is one of my all-time favourite Zeppelin songs. And pretty much every other song on here is just enjoyable. I just don't get it. I can't even begin to talk about this one in such a negative way. There's so much good stuff on here. Robert Plant sounding great. Jimmy Page's guitar is just laid back. It's sounding very different, which is good. It's just, I'd rather him try new things, because I hate it when guitarists always kind of sound the same. A bit like Brian May. People love Brian May. And I'm like, yeah, he's good, but he always sounds the same. So Jimmy Page doing some different stuff there, but hey-ho, it is what it is. I really enjoy it, and I think if you guys revisit it, you might find yourself enjoying it a lot more as well. But now we've only got one more album to talk about. This one's going to be very interesting. It's Elton John, and this is just completely forgotten. It's a soundtrack he done in the very early 70s, and it's called Friends. Yeah, so, early Elton stuff is fantastic, as we all know. It all gets remembered quite well. Don't shoot me, I'm only the piano player. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Madman Across the Water, all the early stuff, self-titled, Tumbleweed Connection, a lot of it. No one ever talks about this one. Why? I don't know. There's some great songs on here. I love all of the songs that Elton sings. They're fantastic. They sound great. They've got a great rhythm to them. And the instrumental ones are fantastic. Because bearing in mind, this is before the time of John Williams and long before the time of Hans Zimmer coming in. Soundtracks were kind of generic sounding back then, I feel. I know some people are going to disagree, especially people who grew up in that era. They're going to be like, wait, what? And there were still good soundtracks about. I'm not bashing every soundtrack, but you didn't have like a classic movie. You didn't have classic movie scores back then. And even musicians, these rock musicians, you know, going back to Paul McCartney, you know, hadn't really come out their shell to do scores yet, because Paul McCartney has become quite well known to another audience for his scores, for his orchestral pieces. He did have one out before him, Family Way, but I think we can all agree that's his weakest one. You know, he was still a beginner to all that kind of stuff. He went on to do a lot more with the Liverpool Oratorio and Echo Mume and stuff like that. But nevertheless, Elton here, really good. It sounds really dark. There's not a grip to it like a lot of scores have from the late 70s and onwards to today. But it's one of the best early scores I could give. It's probably one of the only other music score for a film which I think is better than this, from this decade, from this era of movie music, is probably like Planet of the Apes. That had really good soundtrack. Yeah, Elton done a great job here, considering it was all new to him. I enjoy listening to it. It's a very, very good album, very underrated. I don't hear people talking about it, so I think you should talk about it. So go listen to it. But nevertheless, that is it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as always. Please hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I will see you guys soon for another video. Bye bye. I sold my soul.